there, Leadership Grapevine class. We have some very special guests for you this afternoon, and we're going to talk a little bit about boards and commissions here in the city of Grapevine. And we have a couple special guests who have come in and just going to tell you a little bit about why they do what they do and how long they've been doing it and why. Why do they give back to our city? First person I'd like to introduce you to, this is BJ Wilson. And BJ has been on the planning, and she's the chair-elect for the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Vice chair.
Vice chair.
Yes.
There you go, vice chair of the Planning and Zoning Committee. And she's been doing that for 19 years. And she's been a Grapevine resident for 22 years. Sitting next to her, here's my friend Ray Harris. And Ray is our chairman of our Parks and Recreation Board. And Ray has been doing that for 17 years and previously did 2 years of the Golf Advisory Board and then has lived in Grapevine for 28 years. We're going to talk to them a moment about, why they chose these committees, what interests them, why do they do it. Do know that there are 12 different boards and commissions here within the city of Grapevine that you can serve on. And, it doesn't matter your interest. If you like libraries, you like animals, you like the parks, you like historic preservation, whatever it is you like, there is a place for you on the city boards. April and May are the times that you would apply, and then there's some interviews that have to be done, and then the actual terms start each July. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And as we talk through this next few minutes, let's figure out, what is it you're interested in. Okay, great. So let's talk to BJ Wilson. And as I said, BJ has been with the Planning and Zoning Commission for 19 years. Let me give you just a little snippet of what the purpose of the Planning and Zoning Commission is. The Commission recommends the boundaries of original zoning districts and appropriate regulations to be enforced through public hearings and prepares recommendations to the City Council pertaining on zoning, district boundaries, and regulations. It has developed and advises on the Master Land Use Plan and the Master Thoroughfare Plan for the physical development of the City of Grapevine. So big shoes to fill, BJ. I mean, literally, this committee has designed our city from the beginning, now, and into the future.
Well, I was essentially raised in city service. My dad was mayor of my small hometown for 26 years. So I remember being there with my coloring book at city council meetings. I was required to be quiet. Actually, I became interested specifically in the city of Grapevine prior to the Gaylord being built. It was near where I lived at the time, and just started attending some meetings just mainly to get information. But as I listened to many people who spoke at those meetings, there were a variety of opinions and concerns that some I strongly agreed with and some I strongly disagreed with. And so I wanted to make sure that I participated so that I felt that at least my opinion and my concerns were readily met. It's incredibly rewarding. I mean, there are leadership skills that I've learned in my position now as vice chair, just kind of handling that and handling a bit of a public meeting has been a great thing to learn. I've learned Robert's Rules of Order.
No short order there.
In a tremendous fashion. But it's also been, it's been eye-opening. We have a large variety of citizens in Grapevine, different backgrounds, different socioeconomic classes, which is one of the things that I absolutely love about Grapevine. But it's been very rewarding to be able to work with different development within the city to help ensure that all the citizens are taken care of and their rights are looked out for.
Let me read you the purpose. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board advises and makes recommendations pertaining to the parks and recreation facilities and activities in the city of Grapevine.
Primarily, I would say it's just the fact that I love the outdoors. I've been one of the charter members of the local running club, and we use Horseshoe Trails and Oak Grove Park all the time. The opportunity presented itself, and being a runner, cyclist, softball player, that type of thing, having used the park for a number of years since we moved in here in '89, grew to love the city. And the opportunity to be involved with the development of some of these things was just too good an opportunity to pass up. I've enjoyed the opportunity of watching all the new complexes go up. The baseball complex is marvelous. I wish I had something like that as a kid to have played in.
It's rated, like world rated,
Oh yeah,
right?
World class.
World class.
And the softball complex is about to become the same thing. The recreation center is wonderful. The hike and bike trail system, when you can get 30 miles of hike and bike trail within a city to get people out.
And it's connected, right?
It is connected, yeah. You can get from Pleasant Glade Pool up to the mills using the hike and bike trail. It's just all of those things, and having been involved with them, kept me coming back year after year, and it's a 2-year term, to try to stay involved. And the Parks and Rec department has been wonderful. I have great leadership, starting back with Doug Evans and Joe Moore to Kevin Mitchell and Chris Smith now. So it's been a great experience.
And from what I recall, or what I see on social media and such, you guys win a lot of awards.
But yes, this is a wonderful Parks and Recreation department.
Yeah, and if I recall, Ray, is it right that in your particular board, all your board members are required to volunteer in our Parks and Recreation system? Is that right?
They are strongly encouraged, but it doesn't take much encouragement. The special events that Parks and Rec puts on, from the daddy-daughter dance to the mother-son events, so there are lots of opportunities and lots of really rewarding things to do within the city.
So, as I mentioned in the rewards, being able to take the needs of all of the different variety of citizens within Grapevine and trying to look out for them and for their needs, sometimes not only is that very rewarding, but it is a great challenge. Many times the landowners are typically the ones who will come to us for changes or development that they want to make. And we have to look at their plans, we have to look at the current uses, and then determine what we believe would be the best impact for the city. And we look not only at what the best impact for today is, but one of our main requirements is that we look beyond. We want any development that happens now to still be current 20 or 30 or 40 years from now.
It also involves the citizenry, because when you're going to put up a baseball complex, or as we're working on now, a dog park, there are going to be proponents and there's going to be opponents.
Sure.
And it's a matter of trying to balance people's needs with the local community. With the baseball complex, lighting is a big deal. And it was a matter of going through and finding the right lighting equipment that gets the light going down on the field and not, invading the nearby neighborhoods. With a dog park, everybody in the surveys, most everybody in the surveys said, we need a dog park. And everybody thinks we have a dog park, but we don't. It's up in Oak Grove Park, and it's around a little retention pond. But the need for one is there, the want is for there, but then the question is, where do you put it?
Sure.
So then it's a matter of making sure that the local residents are taken care of, we watch out for their needs, that there's a buffer, and that it's operational within reasonable hours. So the biggest challenge is trying to make everybody at least comfortable. In order to keep growing this city and having the amenities that the people want, we have to do some things where some people might not like it where it's at, but as long as we can find a way of buffering the impact, we've seemed to be able to advance in a good fashion.
I lived here for 34 years now in Grapevine and have seen the development, and I think both P&Z and Parks and Rec have always consistently done a nice job of that, you know, analyzing how everyone feels, building the buffers, and making as many people happy as possible.
Get involved. You can watch the news and complain about what's happening on the national level all you want, but you can actually change and impact what happens in Grapevine, Texas if you desire to do so. So get involved.
I'd go one step further to say that get involved, but look at the boards and the commissions that are available. Read a little bit about them. You can get them off the city's website. And if you find something that you have an interest in, you can make a huge impact. If you've got, you know, interest in the library or preservation or whatever it is, your input can go a long way into making that board continue to be a successful one. So it's just a matter of find your spot, commit yourself to it, and your fellow citizens are going to be appreciative of it.
This is my friend Sean Shope, and Sean is the chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission for our city. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about what that means. But in my idea is the fact that you drive down Main Street and you go in those areas, you know, east and west of Maine and so on and so forth, and you feel like you're in a historic little town. And there's a reason that it feels that way and it looks that way, and we're going to explore that here in just a moment. You know, like I said, Sean's been in the community a long time, has not only held this position, but many, many, many others on several boards and Education Foundation and many places. I'm going to give you a little snippet of what the purpose of the commission is. And then we'll find out what this really means. The commission is comprised of members who demonstrate an outstanding interest in the historic traditions of our city.
Where you see all the people that are coming down to experience what small town life is. You kind of don't forget about our heritage
Yeah.
here. We've gone one step further and not forgetting, but to protect it. And
Yeah.
it's that unique piece of whatever it is that other communities don't have.
Right?
You know, and so it's kind of special.
Yeah.
You think of the aesthetics, you think of what it looks like, and the kind of bookending a period of significance that feels like Grapevine. So there's been a lot of homes that have been built over the course of the settlement that arrived here. You know, Nash Farm being one of our oldest remaining farms. Main Street was the historic commerce district. The homes in the neighborhoods feel like they did when they were first
Right,
built.
back in the 1800s,
And we want
1900s.
to protect that.
Sure, absolutely.
That's our job. That's our goal. Well, I just felt like I needed to give back. There was I had received so much from being a resident here and growing up here that I guess it was partly due to Leadership Grapevine. I learned that there's so much that goes on within a city. It just doesn't happen. And so I needed to find my fit of where to give back to.
That's
There is that satisfaction of contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Sure.
I'm sure many of the people that are giving back feel that too.
Sure.
There's, in my case, there's an economic value to the people that live in the historic district. It's found that by working on these things and protecting what we've had, we've created something unique that creates value. It's not good if you want to buy into the historic district because some of those prices are crazy.
They have
So
gone.
that is a benefit though,
Sure.
that more people get to experience.
Sure.
And I guess that you know, that satisfaction of contributing to something bigger than myself is
Yeah.
it's pretty big for me. So
Yeah.
I think it goes both ways. It's a challenge is sometimes it's a strength that goes too far and it becomes a weakness. And I think about in our case, you're dealing with people, and whenever you deal with people, sometimes it's hard. It's you get the best, and it's really, really amazing when it comes together and just right and feels right. And then sometimes you get situations where it's conflict because, you know, a property owner wants to do something that doesn't fit within the guidelines that are outlined. And so that's hard because I go to church with people and I do business with people and I am friends with people, and we're all trying to get it right on a whole. And sometimes that doesn't line up for the individual. And those times are hard.
Sure, of course.
And we've learned how to work through that. It's the how you work through it that gets you through, and not so much what the outcome is. If you can get through to an outcome and do it in a manner that is consistent, that is maybe pleasant, if that's possible.
Sure.
The ending may not be the right ending, but those are really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
It's very
I
challenging.
mean, we've all been in those situations where the outcome might not have been what we wanted, but if we were treated with respect and friendship and understanding, by the time you get through to the end of it, you know, that's good. That's real good. And that's just great leadership advice.
I look at my upbringing, and I had some pivotal people that I got to the privilege of watching. One of them was Shane Wilbanks.
Of course.
He was my soccer coach.
Oh, my.
So him, there was another guy named Mr. Jewett, there was Mrs. Uday, there's these countless people that I kind of watched from a distance, and I remember very fondly. But one thing I realized, and a lot of this occurred when I went through the class, is that what we have here, it doesn't just happen.
Right.
It happens with a lot of effort and a lot of energy, and with the thing that creates the difference is people. So the strengths that you have, we need. There's governance that occurs at the city level and on board level, citizen advisory boards. There's all kinds of places to get involved, and I didn't realize how many people it took, you know, as I was growing up. Now that I'm in it and a part of it, I feel a part of it, and I recognize this is a lot of effort on my part and a lot of effort on many people's parts.
Interesting that that's how Sean is closing his comments today, because a moment or two ago you heard, without Sean being in the room, an exact repeat from Ray Harris and from BJ Wilson. And so really I think the message is put your heart into it, get involved, come be a leader here in the city of Grapevine.